I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey friends, what's up? We are back for the finale episode of Never Have I Ever on the Never Have I Ever After Show here on AfterBuzz TV. We are talking about the last two episodes of this incredible season, episodes 9 and 10, and so much happened. It was obviously a roller coaster. We are so ready to talk about it. Before we get there, I'm your host, Bryant Santos, and I am joined by my amazing panel of two beautifully talented ladies who are ready to talk about this show with me. First up, she's a lover of Bollywood. She's a lover of all things India. She's an Indian in the US, giving us the most amazing perspective ever. Please welcome Shiksha Mahtani. Hey, girl.
What's up, guys? It's finale time.
Yes, let's do this. So ready. And with us as well, we always have the amazing, hey, Trina Dong. Hey, Trina Dong.
Hi.
She is a lover of K-pop and brings you the K-pop news weekly here on AfterBuzz TV. So check that out as well if you love K-pop. But guys, I'm ready to jump in. Like there was these last two episodes. I can't wait to talk all about it. So let's just start with the elephant in the room. It's not really an elephant. It's just what we were surprised by because Prishant is hot, and we were shook, and so was Kamala, so was Nilani. Everyone was shook in the family. So Shiksha, tell me what you were thinking when Prishant knocked on that door.
I was like, what? Okay, lucky, because with arranged marriages, the way that the families arrange the marriages, it has to do with your family, like who your family is, what their standing is in society.
Really?
And then there are almost levels of families. So you marry into a family that's equal to you or higher. It's not correct. It's just the way it is. So you don't necessarily go by looks or anything like that. You go by the family. Yeah. So she got really lucky. She's so hot. That doesn't always happen.
Definitely.
Yeah. I was shocked. I was like, oh, okay, him.
Yes. And we'll talk about it too, but he was also so sweet, like literally the nicest guy ever. Like, love him. Can't wait to break all that down. But speaking of nice guys, Trina, Steve breaks in. What were you thinking?
I was so mad when he broke in because he was just sitting upstairs. This is when it all went downhill for Steve. He just sat upstairs, reading a magazine, waiting to get caught, and then to do what? And then obviously her man's walks in the front door looking like, Sexiest Man Alive
star.
People magazine. Like, what the heck? He's not even hot. He's like not a real human being hot.
Yes.
And so that was crazy. There was just no chance for Steve after that because he wasn't trying hard enough. So Steve let me down in the end.
Yes.
I
disagree though. I feel like he tried a lot hard because he broke into the house, like trying.
But then he just sat there. He knew how to break in the house. And
Devi did bring that up. She's like, "Why aren't you downstairs, like fighting for her?" True. So.
I feel like he was probably just really intimidated by the things that he didn't know from the culture, because Kamala was already telling him how big of a deal it was, how she couldn't walk away from it. So I think, and through things that he was saying, it was clear that he didn't really know about it or understand it. So I think that for him, it was just really intimidating. He didn't know what he would be walking into, but he wanted to show her that he loved her, so he broke into the room. But it was here that I lost it for Steve completely, because the way that he proposed to her and the way that he was saying like it's slavery, like you're being bought and sold. And
she was even like, that's a little bit offensive.
And Kamala even said that's mildly offensive, and I was like, yeah, it kind of was. So that's where I kind of lost it for the guy, because I was like, I was all for him for a minute, but
I was rooting for Steve, but then once Prashant walked in, I was like, okay, never mind.
It doesn't matter anymore. Exactly, like it was never gonna happen if she was so on the fence, and then that walks in. Everybody else,
she's like, I'm jumping the fence.
Away. Yeah, why wouldn't you? Duh.
Yeah,
Steve.
All right, let's talk about Devi and the harp for a second, because that was another big thing that happened for her in this episode. You know, she's obviously still struggling with that. We saw this from the beginning few episodes where she couldn't even play the harp at her orchestra practice because she obviously still has this sort of PTSD, these bad thoughts whenever she goes to that harp because of what happened with Mohan. So Trina, did you feel for her in this? What were you thinking when you saw her struggling with that?
Yeah, I felt really bad because, for one, the uncle came in and just kind of hijacked everything. And was just like, we want you to do whatever I want you to do now, and you will do this thing, and I will make you feel bad, basically. And so, but obviously everyone else that knew why she didn't play it was upstairs. So she didn't have any protection or any help. And we saw it in her mom too. Her mom was feeling for her. And I wish her mom would have been vocal about that so they could have a moment there. But yeah, I felt really bad because the harp opened up things for the rest of these episodes for all of this internal battling, trying to sleep, everything. It was really sad.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Nilani, Shiksha, I want to get your thoughts because we talked about this before with the whole like, is she like this enforcer? Is she this stern Indian mother? Or is she not? And we saw that again with Kamala and Steve because she walks in on Kamala and Steve and she totally does not think what we think she's going to do. I thought she was going to blow the hell up and it was going to be a nightmare, but she went the exact opposite route. So tell me what you were thinking.
You know, I'm torn here because it's like on one end, I want them to show a true Indian mom, or at least what the majority would necessarily like what they would act like. But then they were also really trying with this show to show Indians living in the US as also Americans and like they're just like all of us. And if you think of American moms too, you have all kinds of moms, all good moms, bad moms, they behave in different ways. So, you know, it's the same with Indian moms, of course, but I think that the writers were trying to do too many things with the mom that it didn't work. And I kind of started to really not like the mom this episode. Because I understand that she's going through her own thing. She just lost the love of her life, but she's still the mom. And you have to be, you see your child struggling. Your child was paralyzed for 3 months, you know, so, and now she's acting out. Why do you think that is? Right. I know that a lot of Indian parents will be just like chamak, how do you like, just like get over it, you know, just it's fine, get over it. The fact that she went to therapy is very un-Indian, technically. Because like you shouldn't need help, you should just be fine. Like that's the mentality. But it's an Americanized Indian, so therefore you need therapy. And I thought that that was a really cool step that the show took to show that even Indians can take that step. But now with the mom and dealing with all this crap and then Devi remembering her big fight with her mother and then treating Kamala better than she treated her, it did not sit well with me at all. The way it was. Yeah.
I was confused with that too because I was like, why is at one vein you're thinking like maybe she's treating Kamala different because that's not really her daughter, you know? She's kind of raising her like her daughter and she's like kind of being like a motherly figure. But her real daughter, who she should be a little bit more passionate to, she's doing the opposite, you know? So we saw that with Paxton when Paxton shows up and he spills the beans about everything. And Nilani like goes off. She goes off on Davey, she goes off on Paxton, and they're obviously all shook. So like Trina, what were you thinking for Paxton when that happened?
I felt really bad. Those were jabs that did not need to go down.
Yes.
I don't know, because it's silly to me oh, excuse me, I didn't know he was an honor student. So mean. So mean. So I understand that she was popping off because the lies were adding up and the disrespect was adding up. So I agree with all of that. She was doing way too much, this girl. She was getting away with a lot of stuff and her mom was not punishing her, but her mom was letting it pile. And then bring this guy in here who keeps, it's funny, John McEnroe made like a tennis reference and said, Paxton, these are unforced errors. It was so funny, but it's true. Paxton kept exposing her. So that's not his fault, but she was so mean to him. And then he was doing other stuff. That was just a really cringe scene. I felt bad for everybody.
For sure. Shiksha, how about you? What did you feel for Paxton?
I felt so bad for the guy. I think that he was just walking into a really bad situation to begin with. So it wasn't going to go well no matter which way we looked at it. The poor guy, like it was just bad timing, bad luck. The mom was extremely harsh to him. I feel like those are all the kind of things that she should have said to Devi in private. Because the things that she said made sense to me. I could hear any Indian mom saying exactly that, actually. No matter, even though it was really mean, I could hear an Indian mom saying that. But not in front of the guy. That threw me a little bit because he was standing right there. It was disrespectful. Even in Indian communities, it's all about the way that you come across. And she did not come across very well. you know? So I feel like she should have taken that inside and yelled at her inside.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. She could have easily just asked him to excuse himself and be like, okay, thanks for coming, whatever, bye. And then, like you said, really lay it into Davy. But on a lighter note, after they got Steve out of there, we did see Prashant and Kamala come together, which I'm so happy about because I loved seeing that little end moment where they just understood each other. And I think that's what this whole thing was about, was really just understanding each other. They're like, oh my gosh, you feel the same way about this, or like, how I'm struggling with balancing this Indian and American culture. So Shiksha, your thoughts? Do you like them together? Are you still Team Steve? What's your thoughts?
Oh no, I'm so Team Prashant at this point. She was like, she hit the jackpot with the arranged marriage. Oh my god.
Wow.
So, well, because she already knows that the families approve, right?
Yes.
And he's hot, and I don't know why I'm counting with two hands. He's hot.
There's a lot.
There's a
It's a lot. He's very hot.
He's very hot. The families already accept him, or accept each other, and he's super nice and sweet. They seem to relate to each other. I like that they want to take it slow and get to know each other instead of just hopping into the marriage. And the fact that he respected that just shows a lot of it, like what his character is, that he's willing to take a step back and just like give her a minute and take it slow. Team Prashant all the way.
Same.
Yeah.
Trina, how did you feel about his reactions to like Davy? Because obviously the uncle was just like rubbing Davy the wrong way, but Prashant was so nice and so sweet. He's like, it's okay if you don't want to play, like it's okay.
Yeah, I think that the way he behaved at the end made it clear why he was behaving the way he was throughout. He's just a nice guy, and he understands what it's like to live in a family like this, or at least similar to it.
Yeah.
And so trying to be kind to the family around him because he knows how awkward it is for everyone. But I do have a question. When they agreed to take it slow at the end, does that mean they're going to lie to the parents and then they're personally going to? Okay.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, they're going to lie and sneak around. Because
yeah.
They did such a good job on the uncle. Oh my god.
He's always good.
A good job. Because uncles, like, and we've talked about this already, but the Indian community is so up in your business, especially with the aunties in the Ganesha Puja episode. They gave a description of the aunties, like they're not related to you, but they have opinions on your life and you have to respect them. Same with the uncles, and especially the uncles that are related to you. So they have like this, they can come into your house and tell you what to do and tell you what to think and how to act. And that's okay, because that's just the way it works. So the way that he was so demanding, and the way he was bitching about the security, because that's his business. Like, I just thought of so many of my own uncles that, it made sense.
Is it uncles if it's an elder, no matter what?
What do you mean?
Like if it's an elder, like if they're not related to you and it is an elder, is that the name that they're referred to?
Yeah. So you refer to any older woman or man as an auntie or an uncle. It's a sign of respect.
Sure.
Because the community is just, we're so interlocked as a community, so that even though they're not related to you, it doesn't matter. You still call them auntie and uncle.
Yep.
Yeah.
But in this case, he was related, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, this one is her brother.
Yeah. I have the same, like, in my culture, it's the same where everyone is kind of all very communal. So we do have these like uncles and aunties that we're not really related to. But the ones I'm related to, I also latched onto this guy because he was very much like an uncle that I have. But it's obviously a cultural difference because I would end him. Like, I would not let him talk to me like that. I would be like, go back to the wife you don't have. Like, literally, like, I would like not even give it a second thought.
We can't. We have to respect our elders. That you can't raise your voice to them. You can't yell at them. I've had so many of my elders like get on my nerves and get like, go away. But I just have to go vent to like my sister. I can't say or do anything. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, it's funny because most of my family is like that. They'll just be like, they'll come to me and I'll be like, honey, why didn't you say something? Because I would have. Like, he would not be standing right now if that was me.
You can't.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy. And it's, again, a testament to, like, for me, like my Americanization, that I am not still related to my culture as much as I could be, because most people in my culture would just like, hold back and still respect that. But I'm like, not me. I'm not the one. I'm not the one to mess with.
Yeah.
So. All right, let's talk about the last moment of this episode, which was obviously very, very, very heavy, because we see that not only it spilled the beans, Arvin again, that they're moving back to India, and Devi was obviously so taken aback. She was shook. She was not prepared for such a bombshell. And it leads her to say something she obviously is going to regret to her mother. She basically says, "I wish you were the one dead." So I need to know both of your thoughts on this, because that was such a heavy moment. Trina, what did you think?
Really, really sad. And I feel for both of them, because I know that young girl has so much going on in her head that she literally is driving herself crazy. And then she spat that out because she really doesn't think her mom likes her.
Yeah.
And she said that because she's so hurt, because she doesn't think the only person left likes her. So of course it's awful to say, but it's understandable to me that a young person would blurt something like that out when they feel, that they're by themselves. But it obviously is really sad for the mom too, because she has never connected with her in the way of raising her the way that she would want to. Is the answer moving back to India? Like, that's a pretty intense answer. So I feel bad for everybody. I think it really got to the end of everyone's ropes here.
Shiksha, how about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think she's 15 years old.
Yeah.
She's gone through a lot this year, like a hell of a lot, more than any 15-year-old should have to go through. So I understand why it came out. Not that I agree with it. I just understand why that was said. But what I just don't get is the mom and how she could say that to her husband about she's not my daughter, she's yours. And
oh yeah, that was awful.
And she wasn't joking, she was serious. Like, I can't take care of her anymore, she's on you now. Like, what?
But do we think that's connected to what they alluded to, a miscarriage there earlier? In an earlier episode, they alluded when she was crying in the bed, remember? And he was like, we have all the family we need. That she holds some sort of resentment toward the child that she has because she lost another.
I don't see that connection. Not that you could be right. I don't know. I didn't feel that, but I was upset that they didn't explain or justify what the mom said, because that was so harsh. Your 15-year-old daughter is telling you that she heard you, and she didn't have anything to say in return. She just said, "Well, I love you," but she didn't. And like, as a 15-year-old girl, that's not enough. That's just not enough. So, my heart went out to Devi in that moment. And then on top of that, she wants to move her to India, where she knows nobody. Like, and I understand why the mom wants to, because in India she has a lot of family and friends who can help her with her kid. But Devi doesn't get that, and the fact that they're not communicating means that, of course, she won't understand it. The mom has to explain that to her.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
Yeah. So all of that drama leads us into episode 10. So this is the finale, and obviously things are just gonna go crazy. So we start off that Devi is actually staying at Ben's house due to that blow up with her mom. So Shiksha, I know you're team Ben, so give me your take on this.
I thought of you this entire episode.
Oh, Ben, yes, okay. If this episode didn't put you on team Ben, then I just can't with you, okay? Because oh my God, I mean, he was looking out for her this whole episode. She's her frenemy, friend. Yeah, they're frenemies. They're not.
I think they're just friends now.
I think at this point they might be friends already.
Friends. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They're friends. They're just friends, and he cares about her so much that he everything about this episode was amazing when it comes to Ben. He went to her friends and convinced them when her friends and her made up. He reminded them, wait a minute, you still have to convince her. He drove her without a license. He waited for her. Like, he waited for her. Like, oh my God. Team Ben.
Yes. I love that. I want to break all that down because all of those were super, like you said, pivotal moments for Ben and the storyline between him and Devi. So we're going to get to all of those. But you know what's funny? When I was watching this episode back, I remembered, our after shows, and there's someone that we actually haven't talked about at all, or maybe only once, which is Eric. And he's like this comic relief, the big guy with remember the brown thing?
Oh,
yeah.
The brown
Eric?
thing. Exactly. Bryant is stuck on this Eric character.
Wait,
The
who?
first-
So he's the guy that was, you remember the first few episodes where he was like, it smells like shit over here. And then there was a brown thing on his lip.
Oh.
Bryant's the only one that caught the brown thing. Just so you know, I was not there. Bryant had to walk me through what he's talking about. But Eric, are you saying
bring him up again? Yeah,
when
because
he came in to
he came back again
propose to
with Kamala.
Kamala? Yeah.
But I just
That's
wanted to bring
funny.
him up because I realized that he's actually more present than we thought he was. He's pretty much been at least one time in every single episode, and he's just there for that comic relief. But I just laughed again when I saw him, and I thought back to the brown thing on his lip, and I just lost it.
Terrible.
So I actually also want to talk about Nilani's flashback. So when she's in the process of trying to sell the house to this realtor, she has this flashback of her and Mohan when they first bought this house. And obviously, even the realtor mentioned it, Mohan loved this house so much. It was so special to him and to the family that he built. So Trina, what were you thinking? Do you think that Nilani was right to even try and sell the house?
I mean, yeah, that's what she felt like she needed to do. It is sad. It does feel like it's trying to heal the issue by pushing away the issue a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But, she wants to move back to India and she thinks that's the answer. So selling it, sadly, doesn't really have to do with how much he loved the house. It just has to do with her moving forward. But the flashbacks, everybody's flashbacks of him, the whole season, I thought were just really sad because of how wonderful he is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wish he was in the show because he would be such a great character to watch with everybody in the show. So, yeah, it's sad.
It is sad.
Well, on a kind of happier note, just because I love Paxton, he was also there, but he is still like reeling from when Nilani roasted the hell out of him. Like, she ended his life and his career.
Yeah.
So he's been brushing off Devi a lot. So Shiksha, I want to get your thoughts. Like, do you think he is right to brush Devi off like this for what he's feeling towards Nilani, or what are you thinking?
I don't think he was right because when the mother was roasting him, if you'll remember, Devi defended him and said he's not stupid. That alone should have been what made him not brush her off. If she hadn't said, no, he's not stupid, then okay, I would understand because then she would have just been standing there while this happened. But she stood up for him. So, dude, it's her mom. It's her parent. She's looking out for her. Like, duh, get over it.
Definitely. Well, you mentioned a little bit, Shiksha, about Dr. Ryan, that she went to therapy. Nilani is actually the one that went to therapy this time. So one line that stuck out to me was, I know I'm not as good as Mohan, but I'm trying. So Trina, when you heard that, like, I hope it resonated with you as much as it did with me. Like, what were you thinking?
I, first of all, did think it was crazy that we saw her there. Because I didn't think she would want to sort anything out. And I also kind of felt like she didn't while she was there anyway. She was just doing it for whatever reason to make her feel better. But I'm sure this whole thing is heightened because that really is how she feels. She feels like he was the better parent. She feels like he was the better human. And she's been trying to carry out this family for the both of them. And that's what it is, but she sees it in more of a matter-of-fact way instead of a changing it kind of way.
Definitely. And Shiksha, I think she mentioned that she's so hard on Devi because she's trying to protect her or look out for her. Do you agree with that?
Yes and no. I agree, and this is again where I'm torn with the character because it makes sense that she's hard on her because she loves her and wants to protect her, but the way that they show it doesn't make sense to me.
Sure.
So but the fact that she went to therapy, I already said, is a huge deal, especially the mom therapy. What I also thought was interesting is they don't show the mom having any friends. No American friends.
Oh my God. Interesting.
Yeah, because I think about my own family, and if something like this were happening, we'd fall back on our family or friends. Family that we're really close to, not like gossipy friends, like the ones that you're really close to, or you can find it in some American friend that you really love. So the fact that she had nobody to fall back on is interesting to me and kind of unrealistic because they've been living there for years and years and years. She's a doctor, so she meets people. You know how and so they put her in therapy, which again is a big step forward to show Indians doing that, but also unrealistic because no friends.
I agree. And the therapy session leads her to go and see Devi because it reminds her that the next day is Mohan's birthday. So she approaches Devi, trying to let her know, like, hey, let's move past this, and I want to get over you. I have to give you my take on Devi because she was a brat in this moment. Like, I think this would have been the moment for her to just come back, and it would have just been so much easier because Nilani already took the first step to, I guess she didn't really apologize, but she tried to mend the fence.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why Devi wasn't as receptive, because she didn't apologize. But at that same token, I feel like Devi really laid it into her and said some really cruel things again after already saying she wishes she was dead, So that was my take. I just thought that Devi was being like extra cruel, and I feel like it was a little bit unnecessary. Shiksha, I think I see your face. What do you think?
I needed the mom to apologize for what Devi overheard her saying to her dad. It was so mother. The mother is the one who needs to. Yeah, she took the step forward, but she didn't apologize. So it wasn't enough. In my head, it ended up being Devi who's the bigger person in the situation. The mother should have been the one to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I see it from that perspective too. I think for me, it was just the fact that Devi was, still laying into her. And I think it was just more so the fact that it was Mohan's birthday. So I feel like Nilani was already a little bit like vulnerable, and it was still, I don't know, maybe I'm like overthinking, but I think that Devi was just being a little bit cruel for my thing. But someone else who is Rebecca. So Rebecca basically roasted Paxton again because she called him like, Trina, what were you thinking? Like, what did you think when Rebecca basically roasted?
But this guy is also a little tormented for all of his other reasons too. So I don't feel bad for him, but I get that he's masking all of his stuff because he doesn't want to be anything other than the cool Hawkeye, which is, something that he's created for himself. So I love her. I think she's hilarious. And I think he needs to get a grip a little bit.
It's exactly what Bryant said too. It's like she's the one who grounds him almost.
Yeah.
Brings him back to real life and shows him the way that it is. And he needs somebody. He has nobody else in his life to do that for him. So I love her. She's awesome.
She's the best.
Yeah, because like Trina said, he is the popular guy at school and no one else is going to say anything. Everyone is just falling on their knees at his knees, So it's like he thinks so highly of himself. But at that same token, I do like how they've also given him these layers throughout the show, because I feel like with other shows, like this like hot guy character is kind of one-dimensional, throughout the entire season. He's really one-dimensional, and they don't usually give him any kind of layers. But, with this layer with Rebecca, who grounds him, and the fact that he kind of still has these moments with Devi, I think that's really great. So we'll get there in the end, because I have a question for you guys in the end, but I'm just going to hint that I'm still kind of Team Paxton.
Classic.
But let's just save it for the end. Before we get there, we have to really quick just talk about the reunion, because Eleanor and Fab, Shiksha is still shook. She's like, what is wrong with you?
She's like, please leave the room.
I like Paxton, don't get me wrong, but Ben.
Oh my God, I'm screaming. Okay. So Ben, speaking of Ben, he convinces Eleanor and Fab to reunite with Devi. Again, I'm going to give my small little take on this. Devi's actually been a bad friend. See, I'm going to say, I think this episode didn't really do it for Devi. She was painted in a really bad light, I think, and that's kind of why I'm really upset with her. Like, even in this moment, like, I feel like Fab and Eleanor were the ones to kind of come back and forgive her, when Devi is the one that's been actually the bad friend this whole time, And I think it's just me, like I'm kind of a bitch. So like I wouldn't be the one to take the high road myself. So I think that's why you're shocked. You're shocked.
I'm shocked to death.
But tell me your guys' thoughts. Trina, would you have forgiven Devi that easily?
No, because this would have been the third to fourth time in the last how many ever days that she's done something that kind of sucked. But yes, I would have helped her, because this was a very extreme situation. We're dealing with ashes of someone's father. So absolutely, I would have taken the bait and helped Ben. But after that, she's going to keep doing things to you if she doesn't recognize the real issues here and doesn't keep just getting you guys back, because it keeps working. So of course I would have helped her, because it's too big of a deal to mess with the BS. But afterward, you know, there's a lot of high school left if she doesn't go to India, and this could keep happening over and over.
Shiksha, what did you think of the fact that it was Ben who actually kind of reunited them?
What do you mean? What did you think?
I mean, how much did you love it? That's a better question.
Oh my God. It was like, my heart was like growing, you know?
Yeah.
I don't even know how to describe it. Because he took that step for Devi without Devi asking. Like, that was such a boyfriend move in a way, you know? And, and they're just friends, okay? And
Okay.
I don't know. And then he stood there and he watched them like make up and make amends.
Yeah.
And then he still reminded them again, guys, we still have a bigger deal, like a bigger issue here. He was just really looking out for her. And that for me was like, that was the moment where I was like, sorry, Paxton, I love you and all, but no.
Oh boy.
No.
Yeah.
I want to say though about the friends, I agree with Trina that I would have done the same thing. I would have helped with the ashes because it's such a big deal, but I don't know that I would have forgiven so easily. No. But at the same time, I do think that it was cool that they showed, before they talked about Devi and her dad, that they showed Devi immediately helping Eleanor with her issues, with the way she's dressing and like telling her to come back. So she was almost redeeming herself in that moment.
Sure.
I feel. And also Devi had to be the bigger person with her mom.
True.
So I guess it kind of makes sense that her friends had to be the bigger person with her. Like, she couldn't be the bigger person. I'm looking at it from a writer's perspective. Like,
that's true. I agree. I see that too.
You're right.
Yes. All right. Well, okay, let's just talk about the last two big moments. So obviously, thankfully, Devi makes it to the beach at the help of Ben, which we love. And she has this heartfelt moment because she makes it and she helps Nilani and Kamala spread the ashes. And obviously, I'm sure you guys were as emotional as I was. So just tell me, like, briefly what you were feeling. Like, how great was it to see that?
First of all, let's not forget that John McEnroe himself showed
made an
up
appearance
and
finally.
is the reason why
that was awesome.
Stopped. Amazing. She's like, Mr. McEnroe. That was so good. But
that was awesome.
Sobbing the entire time because all that they needed, first of all, was to see eye to eye and both be like, I'm sorry, this is how I feel. I'm sorry, this is how I feel. And let's get to moving. And so sob central. So glad that everyone got to heal in that way.
Yes.
And I thought it was the perfect sub ending.
It was super emotional. Even for me, I think they did the scene really well because it definitely gets to you. Like, it just gets to you.
Oh yeah.
But also nothing was really fully resolved. And I think that that's problematic. And I wonder what's going to happen after the birthday. You know, do they go back to their old ways? Do they start to communicate? I think that this is a really big moment where they could go either way in their relationship. So I wonder what they'll do for next season if there is one. But the scene itself was amazing. They did it really well.
Yes, I loved it. So emotional. And then that leads us to see that Ben was waiting for her the whole time, which we love so much. So we obviously all have thoughts, but one thing I want to do is on the count of 3, we all have to say what team we're on. Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Paxton.
Trina, you too?
I'm sorry.
Okay,
I know who she
20 seconds
really
each.
wants.
Run through it. Run through why.
I'll keep going. I know who she really wants, and I get why Ben makes the most sense, but I know that she actually feels the most for Paxton. So, Team Paxton.
Yeah, Shiksha, your thoughts, go.
She's just physically attracted to Paxton.
No, he's not.
She can communicate with Ben. Every time she's had a problem at home, when she lied about having sex, the first person she told was Ben. Ben knew everything that was going on in her life more than her friends, than her family. Ben is her person.
Yeah, her friend Ben. Exactly.
No,
everybody needs a best friend.
There is is an attraction. There's a heat when they fight, you know?
A heat,
Yeah.
because they hate each other.
No, they love each other.
I will say what I want for if there is a season 2, I guess we'll do a little bit of predictions. If there is a season 2, which I hope so there is, I
Please.
just want her to be with Paxton so we get this love triangle. Because I feel like that'll just be so amazing to see. Like, Shiksha's like, F you.
The
No,
drama
I
wins.
need Paxton to pine for Devi now because Devi has been
He
so
won't.
public about her loving Paxton. I need him to pine for her now.
I would actually be here for that. I would love that. If
I
he
just don't think he will.
I don't think so either. But
Well, that's what I want.
right? Like if she's
Well.
with Ben, he'll just be like, keep it moving, girl. That's fine. There's like 100 other fish in the sea.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. I should just ask you guys while we're here. Do you want to play our favorite game or do you want to do predictions for season 2?
Oh, well, we should probably do predictions, right?
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do that. So I've only said a little bit, and Shiksha said a little bit too. So Trina, tell me some predictions for season 2.
I hope they don't go to India because then we have a very confusing season 2. I hope I hope we see the process because I asked you guys, how does that even work now that they're going to hide? I would love to see what she goes through in the process of trying to avoid arranged marriage, but still with the guy that they want to arrange. I want to watch a lot of that. I hope she gets Paxton and I want her to work at Old Navy with Rebecca.
I love that. Shiksha, how about you?
Okay, here goes. I want her to have a better relationship with her mother where they start to communicate with one another and love each other. And I want to see the process of them working towards that and getting there. They're definitely not going to India because there won't be a season 2 if they do.
Right.
I would love to see Kamala deal with her family and the boy, like Prishant. She's gonna date Ben, and they're soulmates. And I love the idea of her working at Old Navy, which is gonna keep her connection with Paxton alive, allowing him to pine for her.
Yeah.
Yes, I feel that. Okay, man, honestly, I'm kind of torn now too because I just like
No, you're not. You're lying.
I'm lying. I love Paxton. I don't really have anything. I just want her to be with Paxton. That's it. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think they're leaving us on this cliffhanger thinking that like, oh my gosh, happy ending. She's with Ben. They're perfect for each other. But she is just going to get back into her own drama and she's going to turn back around and she's going to find out that Paxton was at her doorstep and she is just going to fall. Because that's why I was here for it. Because of all his crap, the fact that he showed up at her doorstep, like if I found that out, I would be like so in my feels. I'd be like, oh my God, like he came to my house, like he was waiting for me. Like, honestly.
What about what Ben did? What about what Ben did?
What did Ben do? We don't even remember. I'm just kidding.
Do I
He's
need
her
to listen
friend.
for you?
No,
Tina?
but he's her friend.
No, I can't. I can't with you guys. No.
Screaming. Oh my gosh. Well, that is all the time we have, guys. It was been an amazing season. I love doing this with you guys. It was so fun. And I obviously love this show so much. It was such a great show. And I obviously can't wait for season 2. We hope we get that. So Minnie Kaling, we're looking at you, girl. Please give us that season 2. We want to see so much more development. But before we head, if you're Shiksha, where can everyone find you on social media?
You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter at I am Bolly where I post about the after shows I'm on, Bollywood news, and all kinds of Bollywood dances.
Amazing. Trina, how about you?
Y'all can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Hey Trina Dong.
Yes, and you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok at the Bryant Santos, not the TH. And that is all we have for you guys. Thank you so much for being here. We will hopefully see you for season 2. Catch us on all our other fun after shows we're doing here at AfterBuzz TV. Check out everything AfterBuzz TV has going on. We loved having you here with us, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.